Yo, what is up, guys? It's Topics, and wow, this was a crazy day for news. Um, I haven't seen this much news drop in a day since like the launch of The War Within, probably. Um, Insane amount of changes. I thought I would come on here and go through some of them and give my opinion, my thoughts. I know that these changes have been out for a few hours already, so a lot of content creators have already given their thoughts. But for those of you guys that follow me, I appreciate it, and I think you deserve a little rundown here. So look at how far back I have to go. This is how much news there was. So um, this was like the first post 9 hours ago. Um, However, there's like a more comprehensive post here. Um, is it this one? I think it might be this one. Let me see. Yeah, this is the big post. So patch 11.2 or season 3 has been announced. There was like a WoWcast done today, where they talked about it. You can go ahead and like watch it here. It's on the World of Warcraft YouTube channel. But basically, um, here's everything they announced at a glance. And I don't want this video to be too long, so I don't know if I should scroll through all this, but I'll try and make it fast. So basically, the new zone is going to be Koresh. So you got this kind of like void theme here, this like dark void theme. Um, Basically, it's this island um, that the enemy of this season is trying to use the void against and destroy, and you have to go there and save it and bring it back to life and rebuild the island. Um, so that's the new zone. It's going to be Koresh. The new city is actually Tazavesh, the Veiled Market. So if that's not a spoiler, I don't know what is. But yeah, this is going to be the main city in the new area, which is interesting because I don't think the Undermine really had that great of a main town. Like it was kind of just its own little place. But this new zone, I think, is going to be a lot bigger than Undermine, so it's going to have a main city, Tazavesh. Um, and here's the getting to the exciting news here. The new raid is called Mana Forge Omega. Um, this is like an intense name, like, but anyway, void themed, mana magic themed raid. It's going to be 8 bosses. They already announced that. We'll see if they go into it anymore. But there's actually a new artifact cloak. It's called the Reshi Wraps. So kind of similar in BFA, they had the legendary cloak. There's going to be like a legendary cloak again called the Reshi Wraps, and you actually need it to enter the raid. So how it's going to work is when you have the cloak equipped, you can actually go into um, a different energy form, and it allows you to see different parts of the world. Like, maybe there'd be a person there, or a vendor there, or an enemy there that you would have never seen before if you weren't in your different energy forms. So this cloaks can allow you to switch forms, which they call phase diving, and you actually have to switch forms with the new cloak to be able to enter the raid. So I'm assuming like you're not gonna be able to see the entrance, you're not gonna be able to enter the raid unless you have this cloak on and you switch into your phase diving form. Um, and I think they said there's gonna be other uses of this cloak as well. Like I think the new dungeon's gonna use it, and there's gonna be some world content where you have to phase dive to interact with it. So it's pretty cool. Um, there's a new delve called the Archival Assault, and it's actually gonna like take place in the Azure Vaults. Kind of following the Void magic theme there. There's Azure Vaults is very magic themed, so that makes sense. And actually, you're going to fight Nexus Princess Kaiveza in like a solo encounter, in season 3 in the new delve, I think. So that's kind of cool that she's returning and you get to fight her if you're a delver. Ecological succession. This is like a world event where you can bring animals and creatures and kind of, I guess, put them in these little domes. Then they kind of like grow to their full form, and it's how you're gonna help like repopulate and bring life back to the new zone. And All right, now we're getting down to business here for y'all Mythic Plusers, which this channel is definitely all about that. So the new dungeon is called Eco Dome Aldani, and it's literally this big dome. Literally reminds me of SpongeBob SquarePants and that little chipmunk who lived in the dome. So um, it's a 3 boss dungeon, and it's like this huge open concept dome. So I actually think this is gonna be a huge hit. People are a big fan of 3 boss dungeons, and they're a huge fan of open concept. So here's the full dungeon pool. Um, Obviously you have the new dungeon, Eco Dom Aldani, and then you're gonna have Operation Floodgate and Priory from season 2. From season 1, you're gonna have the Dawnbreaker and Arakara, and then the returning dungeons, as you probably would have guessed it, is Tazavesh Gambit, Streets of Wonder, and then Halls of Atonement. So, overall, my initial reaction is I'm definitely more positive than negative about this. I actually really liked Dawnbreaker, easy 3 boss dungeon. I really like both Tazavesh. I think the theme is cool, especially Gambit, open concept 3 boss, Halls of Atonement, open concept 3 boss. Arakara, I'm kind of meh about. People spammed this so much last season, and it's kind of just an okay dungeon. I know a lot of people aren't happy about Floodgate and Priory, but hey, if we have 6 good dungeons and only 2 bad dungeons, I think that's still a win season. So very excited for next season. Um, Gambit and Atonement are literally on the top of my list for dungeons they should have brought back. So I think next season is going to be an absolute banger. Like, I think it'd be hard to argue that this is not the best dungeon pool of the entire The War Within. I think this gaps both the first and the second season we've had. I just hope that they don't make a bunch of goofy changes to Halls and Gambit to make it worse by adding like chain casters or a bunch of true sight mobs or something stupid like that. So all this stuff is coming out on normal, heroic, and M0 difficulty. Tazavesh will be released as a mega dungeon, including hard mode for the first week, and then like normal patches after a week. Everything will come out in Mythic Plus, and the raid will open, and so on. This is probably one of the biggest announcements. Obviously, because it's normal that we get raid and M Plus and a new zone and this and that, but they are making a huge change to checkpoints and graveyards in Mythic Plus, or dungeons in general. They're called waypoints. So as you can see here, it kind of looks like a mini summoning stone. So if you unlock a checkpoint, this waypoint will show up, and if you open your map, it'll also show a little icon there. So nobody will be confused where you're going to respawn, and I'm assuming they're going to be adding a lot of these to every dungeon. So there's been some bad dungeons in the past where there was only like one checkpoint, and you would have to walk so far if you released, and I just don't think that's going to be the case anymore. So this is going to actually improve the amount of dungeons we're going to be able to time, because if you die in release, you're not going to have as far of a run back, most likely. So obviously there's new class sets. I'm probably not going to scroll through all the pictures of the class sets. If you want to do that, definitely go check it out. Some PvP updates, and that's kind of like the huge big post. I'm gonna go into a couple other things here. Make sure you didn't miss anything. Okay, I definitely need to go over this. I'm not a big raider, but I was actually extremely excited when I saw this. So Maniforge Omega, the new 8-boss raid, the final boss, his name is Void Lord Dimensius, and it's a cosmic-sized boss, they're saying, and it's the biggest boss they've ever made. Look at the size of this boss. It's like the size of Stormwind City, and I don't even think this picture really does it justice, because it's like way behind Stormwind. If you were to move this boss up, it would literally cover the whole city. They're saying Dimensius, you've never seen a boss like this before. They're saying it's a cosmic level boss. It's also the end of the expansion boss. I think everyone's pretty sure at this point that 11.2 Season 3 is going to be the end of The War Within. And so it makes sense that they would do like an epic boss like this. It does make sense leading into Midnight as well that we're fighting like this huge void cosmic boss. And especially after Galliwix being so easy, I very well expect this to be a hard boss, like Queen Ansurek level. Like, I would not be surprised if this is like a 400 pull boss. And I don't think the Race World First would mind that either. I think they need another extremely hard end boss after last race. So I was actually considering trying to actually raid regularly again, just because I think the theme of the raid is so cool, especially the end boss. Like, I want to be a part of the end of the expansion raid, so I might get onto a raid, mythic raid team, but we'll see. No promises. Let's see what else we got here. Checkpoints. Oh, I'm not going to click into this, but they're basically going to penalize Mythic Plus leavers more. So if you're running a Mythic Plus dungeon, you actually have to vote if you want to stop. And if you leave before the vote passes, or if you just like quit before even voting or something like that, and if you do that too many times, you're actually going to get like a penalty or like a deserter penalty. I'm assuming like if you do it more than once per day or something like that. I don't know what the time frame is going to be, but it's nice to see that they're going to be doing this. So because people give up way too easy, right? They'll give up on a dungeon when it's potentially still timeable. So I think this is long overdue. A lot of MMOs have had the voting system to end a game or to leave a match for a long time, and I think it's about time that WoW implements that. Um, phase diving. Okay, so I think that I think that's probably about all I wanted to cover. Um, I didn't want this video to be too long, just a quick run through. Here's my thoughts. I love the dungeon pool. I think it gaps what we've had so far. Super excited. I think the raid, I think the raid theme is cooler than Narrowball Palace. I don't know if it's cooler than Liberation of Undermine. I don't think we've seen enough. Um, but I think it has the potential to be, especially with like the legendary cloak, the whole phase diving thing, the size of the end boss. Like this very well actually could be better than Liberation of Undermine, which is crazy to say. So I'm impressed with that. But most of all, I'm just pumped for the changes they've made to Mythic Plus. The penalizing people leaving, the waystones and checkpoint updates. I think those are really really cool. And I think that even the world events are cool. Like the growing animals and creatures in those tubes to try and like repopulate life on the island is cool. So yeah, overall, I'm absolutely pumped for the season and this patch coming up, and I hope you guys are too. Blizzard is definitely cooking here, but I skipped a lot of articles here that go a little bit more in depth. If you guys want to go have a read, so I would definitely encourage you to. Um, and I'm actually only on page 2, so what am I doing here? Although I don't think there's really too much I missed. This stuff is a little bit more granular. There's the tier set bonuses and some class changes, which I'm actually going to make another video about, so stay tuned for that. But yeah, I think I'm going to make another video for the rest of the content. If you don't care about diving into the class changes or tier sets and stuff like that, then you don't have to, because I'm ending the video here. So thank you guys for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next one.